Howdy folks, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system. I'm going to put up 3 videos today, and I'm cutting all that out. And here I am, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system with paintings today. There's 3 paintings. I've got 3 paintings. I've got a true story, and I've got 2 paintings I'm just going to put up with songs from these albums that I bought that I like, that were the inspiration for the paintings. And those 2 paintings, if you go look for them, is There's No One Else Like Me. It's another song off that Kids album I played the other day, and a song about the Caribbean, a song poem song about the Caribbean. It's those 2 paintings. But the point of this video, which there'll be no song, is the retelling of the story about little Davy. I've told this before, but I didn't do a painting, so I did a painting today because Carl he watched the video and reminded me of that I hadn't done a painting based on the story. So anyway, I'm going to go through it again, and just turn it off if you remember the story. But I was a junior leader at the Y. It doesn't have anything to do. Yes, it does. That's where I met Davy. Davy was a dwarf. Okay, and that's where I met little Davy. That's what we called him, little Davy, because his name was Davy and he was little. And I didn't even know what a dwarf or a midget or anything was. I just knew that there wasn't quite something right about it. I mean, it's just, yeah. But I didn't think, I didn't dwell on it. As a kid, you don't, unless an adult says something, you don't care, okay? It's later on when you develop certain kind of like, ew, or like, I shouldn't, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it all comes from adults, more or less. So Davey, I think he was, I can't remember if he was a junior leader or not. Anyway, we hung out, right? That was the end of it, at the Y. That's where I was all the time, at the Y. He must have gone to Catholic school or something. I did not remember him being, in the public school system. Anyway, besides this, is curious now. But, and was this 8th grade? It was 8th grade. Okay. And what happened was there was a science camp, 7th or 8th grade, I don't know, a weekend science camp, Friday afternoon, Saturday, and you went home Sunday morning sometime. Now, when I was that age, I was doing pretty good in science and math. It's before things went to hell in a handbasket. And I had the opportunity to go to science camp, and my parents said yeah, and I was kind of looking forward to it. So I show up, and God knows why this happened, but they paired kids. They put kids in group. They paired kids, that paired them. They put them in these little groups, like 5 or 6 kids to a group. And why? I ended up with the bad kids. I don't know why. I'm just quiet, and I didn't associate, and I just probably held back until the end because I was shy. And I got in it with the kids. And they weren't just bad, really mean bad. They were just the last kids. They didn't kind of want to be there, and so that's what I'm stuck with. I'm stuck with not doing the science things, but being with the kids who don't want to be there. This is just how it worked out. So the first thing basically they had, the only thing I can remember is getting hungry, and it was time for dinner on Friday night. And these counselors, these grown-ups, these adults, they could have been just teenagers for all I know, they told us that we had to come up with the name of our group, and we had to come up with a poem or limerick or a little song in order to be allowed into the mess hall for dinner. So we hemmed and hawed, and we didn't want to do it, and it seemed stupid, which I was on board with. I didn't want to do it either. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you what we came up with. We came up with something. Again, we held back to the very end of all the kids went in. We go up to the door. I can't believe that we did this. But here was our song to get in. Rah, 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 where are the green bras? See, I messed it up. I'm so embarrassed. I'm even embarrassed to this day. Rah, 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 wear the green bras, beat the meat, give us something to eat. There, I spit it out. I messed it up the first time through. I cut it all out. I understood that beat the meat rhymed, but I didn't understand what the saying was, because I stayed home and I drew pictures. You didn't have the internet today as a kid, where you can go on when you're 12 years old and find, this is not going to be a good story. How do you I just had to stop for a moment. Because I didn't know what that beat the meat. I had no idea. I knew it rhymed. The other kids obviously were more worldly than me. They knew, they thought it was ornery. I knew we shouldn't have been doing it, but we did it. Anyway, the guy at the door, he was very unhappy. He just growled and let us go in, because what else was he going to do? But what was left, there was green beans. That's all we had, was a piece of bread and green beans. There was nothing else left. It was like a nightmare. It started off immediately as a nightmare, and it just continued to get worse. So that night, Saturday night, everybody was supposed to gather around in a room in this lodge where we were, some campground somewhere, and sing songs. And listen to stories about, a lecture about butterflies, as I remember. Well, I had green beans and a piece of bread. I had to go with these kids and sing the green bra. I think I came up with the green bra line, as a matter of fact. So I'm partially responsible for, the nightmare. Anyway. So I don't know where these other kids are. I have no idea. It's dark, and they put the tents up on the hillside, through the brush, up on the hillside. There's no light up there, okay? Put the tents up there, and Davy and I are in a tent hanging out, okay? Well, why couldn't the counselors just leave us the hell alone in our damn tent? No, they had to come through, and I hear them coming through the camp, unzipping tents and yelling at kids, okay? To get down the hillside, right? So I don't know what to do. I know if I unzip the tent and get out of the tent, they're going to hear it. So I'm just frozen in fear in the tent. They come to the tent, they unzip the flap, and they throw it open, and shine a flashlight, and I hear them say, "Well, Davy, I'm surprised at you." And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this won't be so bad. Then they look at me and say, "Get your ass down to the butterfly lecture." I was terrified. I ran through the woods blindly, crashing through brush and trees. I could have poked my eye out with a stick, and it would have been their damn fault. Fell down in the stream, ran across it, and then I ran in and sat sulking through the damn monarch butterfly lecture. Or they're singing some stupid songs. I don't remember. I don't remember what happened the next day. We had a few things. We did a few things, but I didn't want to be there anymore. I hated the whole thing. I didn't want to be there. Whatever things we did, we were always at the tail end of it. No, they must have talked amongst themselves that we were the bad kids. They paid no attention. There was not enough people to do the things. Anyway, it was not good. So that night, in the afternoon, we're up there within the tent. We're left to our own devices, and the kids I'm with they rolled up some leaves and they tried to make a cigarette out of it, and they smoked it. And one of the kids looked at me and he said, "I remember seeing you on top of the school drinking a bottle of wine." And he wasn't making it up, and he was serious. And I thought, well, I could just go with this because I'm with the bad kids. I might as well just seem like I'm bad, although I didn't. It was years before I had my first bottle of wine on top of the school building. I'm like, well, what can I say? I'm bad. And by the time Sunday rolled around and my parents showed up, I have to admit, out of all the childhood memories of not wanting my parents to be involved or around, I was very happy that day when they showed up. And I think I learned a lesson on kind of a subliminal, subtle level that your parents protect you, because if you're just thrown out into the world of bad children, and bad adults and a failed science camp atmosphere. It could have been worse. It could have rained. The weather could have been bad. That you could easily get in serious trouble or something. You could have your eye poked out by a stick. I don't know what I learned anyway. That's the end of the story. I'm sorry it went on so long. Go ahead and watch the songs I'm going to play are great. Anyway, play the Tiki Drummer for the follow-up videos. There I go with the gas again. Uh-oh. You mother. What the hell? This thing eats batteries like there's no tomorrow. Shit. I'm getting tired of you, Tiki Drummer.